Hello everyone, welcome to Chessvisor, your wise choice to improve chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you a game played between Gata Kamsky and Pragnanandhaa R Babu. And this game was played on chess.com's title Tuesday tournament, the last year May month title Tuesday. So before we begin this video, if you are watching this channel for the first time, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So now we can start the game. So here white pieces were handled by Gata Kamsky, the 5-time US champion and a 1996 world champion finalist, and even 2007 World Cup winner, right? So he was a very strong player at the time, and also he is very active in online platforms such as Bleachers as well as on chess.com. So here Gata Kamsky opened the game with a e4, and the young Pragg replied with a e5. So here they went for the normal king pawn opening, knight f3, knight c6, and here we are seeing the famous Roy Lopez with a bishop to b5. The normal variation for black is to play bishop to knight to f6 or the pawn to a6. So knight f6 represents the Berlin variation or Berlin defense, and a6 is the Morpheus defense. So here Pragg is going for the Morpheus defense, the most popular opening in this Roy Lopez. So bishop a4 and now bishop to c5. So if you are a beginner and if you are wondering, like for example, if we can take the knight, okay, and after black recaptures, you may think about winning this pawn, but it is tactically defended, so we cannot do that. In case if you are wondering, we can simply take and go for that variation. But once you take on e5, black has many options. For example, queen to d4 and then queen to g5. Okay, it's normal tactical idea which is present in the Roy Lopez, especially when you exchange the knight which is sitting on c6. So Pragg is going for the other variation, that is bishop a4, and another variation after bishop a4 is going for the bishop c5. So after Gata Kamsky retrieves the bishop, he puts the bishop on c5. It's very good post for the bishop. So he wants to close down the position. So before that he is making sure that the bishop is out of the pawn chain. Mostly all the Roy Lopez variation, especially the closed Roy Lopez such as Chigorian variation and even the Breyer variation, the bishop will always land on e7 and the pawn will be closed, or the bishop will be tucked inside the pawn chain. So that's the problem in those variations, but now Pragg is playing differently with this bishop c5. So Kamsky castles here and Pragg plays the normal move, which was his earlier plan, that is d6. So c3, c3 is a multi-purpose move because it is boxing out this knight, so the knight cannot move forward. And one more thing is that this c3 pawn allows us to push forward with the d4 at one go. And not only that, if the bishop is challenged, sometimes the bishop can come to c2. This is why this c3 is called always multi-purpose move. So here Pragg went bishop d7, and in this position black can even try this move, wantedly retreating the bishop to a7, so that when the d4 comes, we can simply play bishop d7 without even worrying about the bishop which is sitting on c5. And in the game actually it was transposed. So Pragg played bishop d7 first and then d4, and now he played bishop a7. So after this move, Kamsky puts the rook in an open, semi-open file, or I think it's a closed file, sorry. So he's putting the rook on a e file. So sometimes the file may open, so that's the idea. And one more thing is that usually in Roy Lopez, so white's plan is very simple. This knight which is sitting on b1, it will travel like this, knight d2 and then f1 and then to g3, and either one of this knight will go to the f5 square, depends upon the black's responses. So that's why rook e1 is very important move. And also we are guarding this square, e4 square. So if there is any tactical idea, so it will be defended. So here Pragg went knight g e7, looking for castling. Instead of developing the knight in the natural square, he is supporting his brother. So here Gata Kamsky plays bishop e3, trying to support this point, or trying to neutralize the strong bishop which is on a7. So knight j6. So Pragg's idea was, I think he wants to put the knight on f4 sometimes later. So that's why he went knight g e7 and then he coming back to the g6. So knight b d2, as per the plan he is trying now. So knight b d2, and then the knight will eventually come to g3 later. So Pragg castles here, knight f1, e takes d4, some relieving some tension in the center. After c takes d4, white is having some clear advantage in the center. In this position, Pragg plays b5. So questioning this bishop's post. Once the bishop goes back, bishop to b3, and here he plays bishop to g4. So in this position, it's natural to kick the bishop, or support this knight with another knight move. For example, in this position, actually in the game he played pawn to d5. The problem, what is the problem in this move? It's because it's a mistake actually, or it's even blunder. It's because your knight is already pinned, right? So you are actually inviting one more piece to attack it. So that's why it's a blunder. So pawn to d5 is not the right move. Rather, you should have played this move, that is bishop to d5. You are putting the pin in a, sorry, you are putting the knight in a pin. So after this move, what is black's best response here is that you can simply take on f3. After queen f3, knight takes d4, queen to d1, and then c6, bishop takes d4, c takes d5, bishop a7, rook a7, and then queen takes d5. If you consider, or if you evaluate this position, white is clearly better. It's because of this weakness on d6. It's a permanent weakness, and eventually white is going to put pressure on this weakness, right? So this was one of the idea, but in the game he played differently. That is that blunder was d5 instead of bishop d5 because of this tactical move. So he went with the other ones, that is d5. It's a natural move, but the thing is he is inviting the one more attacker to the piece. So in this position I thought about this move, that is putting another knight into d2 to help his brother. So what's the problem in this move? It's because if we play this variation, uh, the black will again is a pinned piece, right? It's very simple principle. Whenever a piece is pinned, you have to bring more attackers. Already he has brought one attacker on e5, and now the time to bring the other one. So for example, a knight h4, and even okay, you are thinking about any checks. Let's say you are moving the king away, and even queen to f6 is possible. See how many pieces are attacking this single knight. So that's the problem in this variation also. And the variation which he played is very different, and he took the bishop on a7. So after this move, Pragg simply took on f3. This is a natural move to continue the game. And here again, he blunders the game with a queen to d4. His idea is very simple. He wants to support the bishop, okay, and at the same time he doesn't want to capture here, okay, because of this forking idea. And the queen was actually defending that square. He could have captured here. That was better choice, I think. Bringing the queen to d4 is not the right move. It's because of the following brilliant move. So what is the brilliant move here in this position is that as per the plan, the knight g6 was supposed to come here on f4, right? So after queen to d4, Pragg simply put the knight on f4. And now you see three pieces are already near the king for the right time to attack, and the only thing is the queen has to come into the action. So in this position, Gata Kamsky played rook e3, trying to defend along the third rank. But in this position, Pragg simply took on g2 because that was undefended, right? So here he went with the knight g3 idea. So he's kind of blocking this file. But in this position, he simply played knight takes e3. So after this, he played queen takes e3. And after queen h4, the idea is very simple. Pragg wants to go to queen h3, and then queen to g2 is made. So instead of defending this variation, he simply blundered by retreating the bishop to d4. He thought of saving the bishop, but now the mate is inevitable. So after queen h3, he resigns the game. You can pause. It's very simple. You don't have to calculate anything here. So there is a mate on g2. So only thing is we can do some sort of sacrifices idea, like queen takes f3, and after knight takes f3 check, and the king is forced to go to the corner, and then it's a mate on h2. So very simple mate. So Gata Kamsky, after 20th move, that is bishop to d4, it's a blunder in mate. It's a blunder the mate in 3 moves. So bishop to d4, and after queen h3 he resigns the game. So yeah, this was the game which I wanted to show you. So in future I will be covering more of Pragg's game, and if you have any suggestions or if you have any specific game to cover which is very interesting or it will be useful for others also, you can definitely put them in the chat. You can put them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here and you are watching the channel for the first time, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So as usual, this is Chess Wiser, your wise choice to improve your chess.